Good. So welcome everyone to the fifth meeting of our WRC-15 Advisory Committee. It's been about 6 months since our last meeting. I'd like to remind each of you, if you have not yet signed in, it would probably be a good idea to do so. We're joined this morning, as usual, by Alex Roitblatt and Donna Christensen. I understand that it is possible the Bureau Chief, Mendel de la Torre, will be able to join us today as well, though she may have been shanghaied by the Wireless Bureau. We're waiting to find out. So from what I hear, all of the working groups have made a lot of progress since our last meeting. As you all are probably aware, though, we have had some changes in the WAC leadership. Our previous vice chair, Diane Cornell, has gone on to bigger and better things in the chairman's office. And we have a new vice chair, Jennifer Manor, who is in either Madrid or Paris, or I forget which all goes to prove that being vice chair is way better than being chair of this committee. Please note the ITU's conference's preparatory meeting is now scheduled for February 2015, which is about a year from now. So it's important that we advance our recommendations as quickly as possible to make sure they are included in the CPM report, a process I know you guys are entirely familiar with. So with that, I'd like to talk.
Hi, sorry, Mike.
So you were not shanghaied by wireless. That's what we've been led to believe.
I did have a meeting.
Well, welcome. We're just about to turn to substance and agenda. Would you like to say a few words before we do that, or you just want to visit?
I'll just visit. Welcome, everybody. Glad to see you all here today.
Okay, great. So let's turn to the agenda, which is document WAC 061. And take a quick look, and if anyone has any comments on the agenda, please let us know. If not, I will declare the agenda for this meeting approved. Next, if you would turn to document WAC 055, which are the minutes of our last meeting. If you would take just a minute or so to take a look at that. And if you have any comments, please let us know. Hearing none, I'll declare those minutes approved. Okay, so since we last met, there has been a report issued from the third meeting of the SEPT Conference Preparatory Group for Work 15. That is document WAC 056. And I'm going to ask Alex to get up, or you can sit where you are if you'd like, and tell us a little bit about the SEPT meeting and its document.
Thanks, Scott. Yes, in document 56, we have a report from the meeting from last September of the Conference Preparatory Group of CEPT, which is the European body that prepares for the conference. And there you will see a brief description of the European positions as they were last September. I don't think they have changed very much since then. So I advise you all to take it for your information and maybe formulate your proposals taking this into account. Thank you.
Any comments on this SEPT report before we move on? Okay, hearing none. We'll proceed. So as we've been working hard, so have our colleagues in the federal agencies. Since our last meeting, we've received additional input from Ntia that is provided for consideration by this committee. You'll find those documents numbered WAC 057, 058, and 059. The relevant working groups are already considering those documents. Is Scott Kotler here? Yes. Scott, I'd like to recognize you for your great work and to see if you'd like to make a few remarks about the documents and update us on the status of the preparations by the federal agencies for work.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, before I get started, I want to acknowledge Dr. Darlene Droznovich, who is my predecessor. She has transitioned onto domestic spectrum at Ntia, and I have.
She's going to be so sorry about that. I'm just saying.
So I've assumed her responsibilities earlier this month. Well, also on behalf of the federal agencies, I'd like to express our appreciation for the work that the WAC and its working groups have completed to prepare us for WRC-15, which, as you noted, is fast approaching. We've accomplished much, and there is much more to accomplish. Our next RCS meeting will be the first Thursday of February 6th, and we will consider items that are approved at this meeting at that particular meeting. In introducing NTIA, I do want to point out there was one other document, WAC document 62, which has draft proposals on 1.61 and 1.62. I didn't hear that one mentioned.
I didn't mention those.
Oh, you did?
So I did not, so thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, that document was presented at the previous WAC meeting, so it's already under consideration. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any comments on the work of the federal agencies? All right, let's move along then to the status reports from our working groups. IWG-1, Maritime, Aeronautical, and Radar Services. Audrey Allison.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. IWG-1, we have a broad reach, as you'll see by the wide diversity of our proposals before you this morning for approval. We've had 2 meetings since the last WAC meeting, and today we have 3 draft proposals for your consideration. One of them builds on one of the NTIA submissions under 1.14. That is in that list of NTIA draft preliminary views and proposals. And that one we'll address first. Document 63 addresses 1.14 regarding the continuous reference timescale that's disseminated by radio waves. So who knew that ITU had a role in time? Well, in order to ensure that legacy systems can be updated despite changes in the universe, we have proposed to eliminate leap seconds from UTC, and moreover, to provide a 5-year period for transition to this new time reference system in order to give administrations and the civilization a chance to really come on board with this.
It's not every day our proposals go to the heart of civilization, is all I'm saying.
Well, I wanted to tell you this is really, really cool stuff. And it's so big that we even have in this proposal a change to Article 1 of the definitions. Well, you don't see that every day, especially from the United States. Article 2, nomenclature. And then you see already anticipating the provisional application of this, how that would be done. So there's a provision for Article 59 that you usually don't get to till you're in the conference and you go, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And a proposed resolution on provisional application. And then finally, there's a proposed suppression of the resolution about this matter, the future of the Coordinated Universal Time Scale. So, as I said, the NTIA started this proposal. At IWG-1, though, we took it on board and made a slight adjustment to the Article 2 business by trying to streamline it, make it a little more comprehensible for everyone else like ourselves to understand. So with that, I present it to the WAC.
So just to be clear, we're going to lose the leap second?
Yes.
I'm going to miss the leap second. I'm just, really. I thought that I'm like making Pluto not a planet. Just.
There are times when years go by without one. So
all right. Okay. Yes.
I just want to ask if this is going to impact the time on my announcement for teleconferences.
No, but maybe several thousands or tens of thousands of years it would.
Okay, so we'll leave Audrey alone now. Any other comments on this document? Hearing none, I'll declare it approved. Audrey, what's next?
Okay, now we go to the world of maritime. Agenda item 1.6 is addressed in WAC document, turning the page.
64.
Okay, so This has to do with possible new automatic identification system technology applications for improving maritime radio communications. Unfortunately, the last WRC in its earnest actions on a related agenda item added a couple of channels that aren't really working out. And in order to implement even more changes to allow for new technologies, we wanted to take this opportunity to correct some of the mistakes of the past. So this is a very tiny proposal. You'd have to scour it really closely to find in page 3 the channels that are being suggested for elimination. But we think this is an important
So
for
we go
AIS.
from the bedrock of civilization to a really tiny proposal? You got...
Yeah, but AIS on ships is important. Even my sailboat has it. So if you're going out in the ocean, you should have it. So it's important.
Yeah, you should have a sailboat too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And an airplane. No.
I think Audrey's not going to come back next time. Do we have any comments on this document? Hearing none, I'll declare it approved. I can't wait to see what's coming next.
Well, now we're going to the land of aviation. And this is looking, agenda item 1.17 is document 65. This is an item looking for new, possible spectrum requirements and regulatory actions for spectrum for wireless avionics. So supporting safety-related operational items on aircraft to allow for future innovation of aircraft models. So we have before you a proposal to make a small allocation change in the 4,200 to 4,400 band to allow operation of this service.
Thank you. Comments on this document? Please step to the microphone so you can, assuming this is a serious comment as
It is.
compared to the others.
Yeah, this is a serious comment. On behalf of SES, I'm a designated representative for them, and I've been participating in the 1.17 IWG-1 activities, and there is a concern regarding the out-of-band emissions from this transmission. And I have a statement which I'd like to have incorporated in the minutes.
Of course.
In that respect. And if you like, I'll be happy to read it.
Please do.
SES has discussed with Boeing numerous times the need to address adjacent band interference into FSS receivers below 4.2.
If you could read a little more slowly.
Oh, you're taking notes.
I was
going to hand this to you. You don't have to do that. So you don't have to.
Do that as well.
Oh, okay. SES. Anyway, we are okay with this proposal going forward, as long as the WAC and IWG-1 are willing to develop the necessary provisions in a future proposal to protect the FSS Earth Station receivers if necessary. We will continue to have informal discussions as well.
Audrey, would you like to?
No, please come to the next meeting of IWG-1, which will be on April 2nd at 9:30. I believe unless there's more comments, the document is ready for approval.
Any other comments? With those all taken into consideration, I think we can declare this document approved as well. Audrey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we turn to Terrestrial Services next. Can I ask the chair of IWG2, Charlie Rush, to report on progress?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman,
Morning.
Ms. Christensen, Mr. Hoyplatt, Ms. Delatorre. IWG 2 is concerned with all things terrestrial. And in that regard, we are concerned with agenda items 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4, WRC-15 agenda, and also agenda item 10 insofar as it impacts on any interest in the terrestrial services for the agenda item, for agenda of WRC-18, assuming that's the next WRC after WRC-15. Today I have 4 documents to present under agenda item 1.1 and 1 document to present under agenda item 1.4. First document that I have under agenda item 1.1 is WAC 60, and it is a document addressing the 3.4 to 4.6, actually, so I'd be the 3.4 to 4.2 megahertz band. It's a preliminary view that the IWIG has come up with. One may question the lateness of this view, but it is nonetheless one that the IWIG feels is worth having a statement on. This particular band that's being addressed is a band that is used quite a bit by the FSS, the Fixed Satellite Service, and because of the physics involved in radio propagation, this is a band that is not as impacted by water vapor and hydrometers along the propagation path, and for that reason is used as a band of preference, I might say, for most of the countries that are low latitude tropical countries. And when you compare the losses associated with frequencies in this band with those at the KU and KA parts of the spectrum, then it's quite a bit of advantage to use the FSS operations in this lower 3442C band. Studies have been undertaken prior to WRC-07 addressing sharing between IMT systems and services provided by the FSS. And even at WRC-07, the small part of the band, 3.4, 3.6 gigahertz, been identified in certain countries for IMT. There was an issue concerning whether or not the studies that were taken under the preparation for WRC-07 were sufficient to deal with more recent concerns about or hopes of using the band, the C-band, for terrestrial services, particularly for small cells and indoor operation. And we have agreed within the IWIG-2 that it be worthwhile to undertake to do these studies, knowing full and acknowledging full well that the studies that were done prior to WRC-07 are valid. We're not calling them into question, but the assumptions about the operation of the systems in this band have changed and evolved, and we'd like to have the approval of the WAC to send this document as a preliminary view forward to the FCC.
Thank you, Charlie. Comments on this document? Hearing none, I declare this document approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next document that I want to present is a proposal for the 470 to 698 megahertz band. This proposal, contained in document 66, contains two divergent views as to how the United States should address the issue of a global primary allocation to the band 470 to 698 megahertz. The document 66 contains three separate attachments. There's an attachment B, I believe, is a view A, and attachment C is view B, and attachment A is a document that relates to comments made by specific interests on this topic on the views expressed in view B. I don't want to go into the details of those documents, but I do want to explain a little bit about the activities that were undertaken in order to reach agreement in the WAC, so that we could put forward one document only. We discussed this issue of a proposal for the 470 to 698 band in IWIG-2 as early as April of 2013. And we were ready to address issues at our September 2013 meeting. However, it became apparent to us that there were entities that had not had an opportunity to present their views because of the nature by which the WAC participation had been decided for this particular WAC cycle, so that we had decided to postpone any further discussion on this particular issue until all interested parties, or at least representatives from interested parties, could be available for discussion. And that did not occur until sometime in the early December. We had a meeting in early December where we discussed this, had essentially two views presented. We had a meeting I think the 18th of December, maybe the 19th of December, I can't remember exactly what, face-to-face. It was hosted by the NAB graciously. Appreciate that. Still, we were not able to come to a single agreed-upon document. Had a meeting of the WAC on the 6th of January, and again, we were not able to come to an agreement on a single document at that time. And we had a face-to-face meeting on, I think it was the 17th of January, 3.5-hour meeting, in which 2.5 hours was devoted totally to this particular topic. So both parties have attempted to reach a negotiated compromise, acting in good faith. However, we have not been able to do so, and I really don't see that it would be possible to do that in the time frame excuse me, that's available to us. Excuse me. It's important for those people those entities that are supporting View B, that the United States have a specific proposal on a specific position with regard to where we go forward with this particular ban for the upcoming CTEL meeting. And this is the last opportunity that we have for the FCC to at least accept the views of the people who are proposing that there be changes to the allocation status in the 476.98 part of the spectrum. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would request that the WAC agree to send forward the documents that are contained under WAC 66. As I said, there's a View A, a View B, and also another document that explains the entities supporting View A, how they feel about View B. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Charlie. So as you all know, consensus is what we strive for here. But in the absence of consensus, our goal is simply to submit to the FCC whatever views are represented by members of the committees. It is the FCC, obviously, that decides the U.S. position, or the FCC's position going forward, and then the U.S. position in conjunction with NTIA. It's not for this group, of course, to make any decisions. And I just want to make sure that everybody believes their views going forward are set forth in a way that reflects those views accurately. Are there any comments on this document? Bruce?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief. I just want to indicate, this document's only been considered at 2 IWIG meetings, and I believe that with time that consensus may have been possible. Well, we don't have necessarily a problem with the way the documents are being treated. I would note that one of the recommendations here is not to send the documents forward, but to send them back to the IWIG with an attempt to make a consensus document. I think we got pretty close. I think it's certainly not out of the question, but there has to be a commitment from all sides. But so I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you. Alex, when is the CTEL meeting?
March 17th, I believe.
Charlie, is there any possibility, from your perspective, of additional meetings and pulling it together before and sending it off to the Commission as a consensus before the CTEL meeting? In other words, I know we won't meet again as a group, but there must be a procedural mechanism we could figure out in case it would be possible to work out a consensus before CTEL. I get that as a deadline, but I just suggest that as a possibility.
I actually don't believe that would happen, Mr. Chairman. The schedule for the ITR meetings is such that the entire month of February is devoted to preparation for and participation in very, very key meetings of the ITU.
Okay, so
particularly the JTG.
Both parties then would need to work to try to get consensus. If one thinks you can't, that takes that off the table.
And then at the beginning of March, we also have preparations then for CTEL itself. I really don't see that being an option at this point.
Next question then, Bruce. Does this document at least fairly represent your party's views?
Yes, certainly our documents were submitted and they're included in this document. Both of the documents that we put together are there.
Okay, very good. Other comments? Oh, Bruce.
Donna just wants to make sure that I identify myself. I'm Bruce France. I'm representing the National Association of Broadcasters. The documents that were put together were supported by NAB, Fox, and CBS.
Very good. Thank you, Bruce. Did I see another comment over here?
James Stankiewicz, Intel Corporation. We, in addition to the meetings that the chairman has indicated, we have also had extensive offline discussions, including over the entire holiday period.
Yes, I will note for the record they all met during the Christmas and New Year holidays.
And
I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. We did try.
And you don't even get time and a half, do you?
Just less per hour. Thank you. And although I appreciate the efforts to try to reach a compromise, I concur with the chair of IWG2 that I do not believe it will be possible to reach a compromise, and it is incredibly important for the mobile community that these views are represented or considered so that we can have a position going into the CTEL meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jane. Any other comments? Okay, so from what I hear, a consensus is not possible for now on this issue. But the views of the various parties are reflected fairly in the document. And with that, I will declare this document with non-consensus views approved and will send it forward to the FCC.
Thank you,
Charlie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next document is document 67, draft proposals concerning the 1435 to 1535 megahertz band. This is a band that in the United States is used ostensibly to support the aeronautical mobile telemetry service. This is a band that we're just about the beginning of the IWG-2 cycle, the WAC cycle for WRC-15, had a preliminary view, and that was to protect this service by not supporting an additional identification in this band in Region 2 for IMT, and also the maintenance of a footnote 343 that goes back. I can personally attest to at least WRC 92.
Do you really want to personally attest to WRC 92? I'm just saying, we didn't know you were that old.
I was there, and this particular frequency band was a major issue as far as the United States was concerned, and I can regale you with a lot of history on that. That'd be totally.
I think I was in high school then. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm sure the people in this room that may not even have been born, but that's. But at any rate, we submit this document for your approval as a contribution to the WAC from IWG-2. It is agreed by the IWG, and I do note, and probably I'm a little bit out of order on the agenda, that this is a document that is, I think we will address under the documents that have come in from NTIA. Our document is slightly different in words, but not in the ultimate proposal. And we would like to have our document go forward as the IWG document to the FCC. However, that means that we will be forced to disagree with the NTIA proposal because the wording is different. But I'm sure that there will not be any, pretty sure that there will not be any disagreement at the time when NTIA and FCC meet to resolve the issues over this particular item.
So there's no fun in this if we can't disagree with NTIA sometimes, right?
Well, I'll get you the fun. I mean, that'll be we're not quite there yet.
Okay. Comments on this document? Hearing none, I'll declare it approved for forwarding to the FCC.
Okay. The next document I wish to present is WAC 68. This is a draft proposal for the band 5350 to 5470 megahertz. And in this draft proposal, what we are doing is asking for a primary allocation to the mobile service between 5350 and 5470 to facilitate the development of broadband terrestrial mobile applications, in particular RLANs. There's the frequency bands 5150 to 5350 and 5470 to 5725 have been identified for RLANs allocated for the mobile service, done so in WRC 2003. This fills in the gap and allows for potentially a much wider chunk of spectrum to be utilized to support high data rate applications involving radio land, involving RLANs. I would like to make a statement on behalf of some of the participants in IWIG 2 prior to asking you for your consideration for approval for this document. And if I could, I would like to read it. I also have it written out, highlighted in green, so no one should have a problem being able to pull it off of these little notes here. With regard to this document, which appears as WAC 68, some participants of IWIG 2, SES, Inmarsat, and Intelsat, noted that this proposal does not define the associated technical provisions to ensure protection of existing services, which in this case are all federal users under NTIA's purview. Since there are no co-primary non-federal services and no directly affected stakeholder, i.e. manufacturer, currently opposes this proposal, we are not opposing the WAC's approval today of this proposal as drafted. However, we are very concerned about the WAC, FCC, or the U.S. moving forward on proposals that do not, as the bare minimum, define all necessary associated technical constraints. Accordingly, we wish to state our position that we do not view moving forward on this proposal under these conditions as having set a precedent for the future work/contribution of the WAC and of the FCC. End quote.
Thank you. Comments on this document? Okay. Hearing none, I declare this document approved to move forward to the FCC.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, the next document that I have to deal with is a document that addresses agenda item 1.4, which is to consider a new allocation to the amateur service on a secondary basis within the band 5.25 to 5.45 megahertz in accordance with Resolution 694. This is an agenda item that's asking for additional spectrum under a secondary allocation to support amateur activities. The band that is being suggested within this proposal is a band that expands the range from 5275 to 5450 kilohertz, not the whole band, the bottom 25 kilohertz being a frequency band that is used by HF radars for oceanographic purposes, and trying to avoid any potential interference to and from that operation. So with that as an introduction, I'd like to ask the WAC to consider to submit this document for approval today and submit it to the FCC.
Thank you. Any comments on this document? Hearing none, I declare it approved.
Okay.
Anything else, Charlie?
I think I have a few additional comments I have to make on the documents received from NTIA. I think under WAC 57, the document that NTIA proposes no change to the allocation status in S-band 2025, 2110 megahertz and 2200, 2290. The long and short of it is that we support the NTIA position.
Well, that's no change.
No.
Okay. Very good. Any other comments on anything that Charlie's presented? Okay.
Okay. The next document.
Oh, there's one more?
Oh, there's two more items.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Please, sorry.
Oh, that's right. Two more NTIA documents.
Yes.
All right.
Document 58. There is the issue of the 1535 megahertz band. It's a proposal. NTIA's proposal is very, very similar to the proposal that we just approved under document 67 or 60. I think 67. dealing with the same band. Because we approved ours, we can't approve theirs because the wording is somewhat different. I really don't think that there's going to be any problem when they come to resolve these differences, because the differences exist primarily in the background sections of the document, not in the intent, but by any stretch of the imagination of the position that we're espousing, as well as what the government is espousing. So I would imagine we have to convey that to the FCC, to NTIA, but I'm sure that our able soldiers in the FCC can handle that. And the last document that I will address that also is within WAC 58 is a proposal put forward by NTIA for the 460, 470 megahertz band under Agenda Item 10. It's a proposal to upgrade the existing meteorological satellite service secondary allocation to a primary allocation at WRC 18 and to undertake studies between the approval of this as a WRC agenda item for WRC 18 after WRC 15 and WRC 18. IWIG 2 has not reached any decision with regard to this particular band at this time. We need to continue to further investigate some of the implications of upgrading this secondary allocation in this band, because this is a band that is already allocated to the mobile service, and the 450 to 470 megahertz band is identified for IMT. So there's potential sharing problems that we would like to look at before we go forward and ask for more studies on this.
Very good. Thank you, Charlie. Before you step down, any other thoughts anyone want to express on these NTIA documents? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, next up, Space Services, IWG-3. Jack?
So good morning, everyone. I don't know how long we have to keep saying Happy New Year. That's almost, I guess, maybe all the way through January. I'm not sure, but good morning, everyone.
Or until it becomes unhappy.
Well, that already happened a while ago for me. But not because of IWG-3. We've actually made pretty good progress in IWG-3, and you see 4 documents for consideration here at this meeting. The first is document 70, WAC 70, which deals with agenda item 1.5. So this is an agenda item in which it's being considered to use the fixed satellite service bands to support control and non-payload communications for unmanned aircraft systems. This is being studied both in Working Party 5B and Working Party 4A at the ITU. And essentially what you see here is a draft new footnote, 5.xxx, which has been added to quite a few fixed satellite service bands. And then you see the wording of that footnote, which points to a resolution. And the point of the resolution is to really put some context and structure around just what it is that we're talking about when we're talking about these UAS systems, and to ensure that the services provided to these systems can be done in a safe manner. And then you also see an annex to that resolution, which addresses regulatory and operational provisions. So it's a pretty comprehensive proposal in that regard. So I offer it for your consideration.
Comments? Okay, hearing none, I declare this document approved for forwarding to the FCC.
Okay, so then the next document is document 71, and this is dealing with part of agenda item 1.6.1 and 1.6.2. 161, of course, is looking at both uplink and downlink allocations, possible uplink and downlink allocations in Region 1 for the FSS, and 1.6.2 is looking for uplink Earth-to-space allocations in Regions 2 and 3. And so this document is basically identifying the range 14.5 to 15.35 as possibly being identified for the fixed satellite service in the Earth-to-space direction, so only in the uplink direction. Because part of that band is also governed by Appendix 30A, you see consequential changes being proposed to various parts of Appendix 30A. And I think with that, I'll offer it for your consideration.
Comments on this document? Anybody? Okay, hearing none, I declare this document approved.
See, we're not having nearly as much fun as some of the other groups, apparently. So let's
Well,
see.
you're not dealing with the foundations of civilization.
There
I
you
guess.
go. There you go. Maybe we can come up with a leap Hertz or something. So document 72. So this is a proposal on agenda item 1.7, which is to review the use of part of the 5 gigahertz band by the FSS, which is limited to feeder links for NGSO MSS systems. So this allocation was created at Work 95, and at that time, it was expected that the microwave landing systems would be growing in this band, and so there was a time limit put on the feeder link use. And this proposal essentially takes note of the fact that the microwave landing systems haven't developed the way that they were expected to. The mobile satellite service systems have developed the way they were expected to. And given the current state of affairs, this time limit that was previously imposed can be removed, and therefore the fixed satellite service feeder links can continue to operate, and then it also provides a way for them to share on a going forward basis with MLS as it evolves in the future.
Great. Comments on this document? Hearing none, I declare it approved, and we'll move forward to the Commission.
Okay, so then the final document for your consideration this morning is WAC 73. This is actually a revision of the Ntia proposal, which is in WAC 59 on agenda item 1.12. And so essentially that was the basis, and the rev marks in this document are against the Ntia proposal. It gets a little bit confusing in the frequency allocation tables because you see additions with underlines and then strike-throughs of those additions, but I think it's pretty straightforward as to what's being done. Essentially, what was proposed by Ntia as a primary allocation for EESS is being proposed as a secondary allocation for EESS. And the rationale for that is contained in the document. So with that, I offer it for your consideration.
Very good. Comments on this document? Hearing none, I declare it approved for forwarding to the Commission. And Jack, you have comments on documents received from NTIA?
Yeah, we have a few comments. So going back to the first page of the agenda, in WAC document 58, there was NTA proposal on 1.9.2, and I can report that IWG3 supports that proposal going forward. In WAC document 59 was this proposal on 1.12, which we just saw the revised version of, so that's our position on that. And in WAC document 62, there was an NTI proposal on 161 and 162, and given that we have our own proposal, that obviously we support our own proposal over the NTIA proposal. And then finally, just in closing, I'd like to report that at this point, I think we've developed recommendations, draft recommendations on every agenda item under our purview except for 1.8 and 1.9.1. So we've come quite a ways. So you may see some additional stuff on 1.6, but at least we've touched every agenda item except for those two.
Very good. Any other comments on what Jack had to say regarding the documents from NTIA? Great, Jack. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And
to the whole group working on that. Okay. Next, IWG4, regulatory issues. I gathered Damon Ladson, the Vice Chair, will be speaking today for the IWG4.
Thank you, Scott, and good morning, everyone. IWG4 has held 4 meetings since the last WAC. We considered 3 contributions from advisory committee members, and we have 1 document for approval today. That is document 74. Document 74 is a proposal under agenda item 7, and it addresses bringing into use, notification, and suspension, and it affects Annex 7 to Appendix 30. And Appendix 30 contains orbital position limitations on VSS in the 11.7 to 12.7 gigahertz range to allow sharing with FSS systems in the same range but that operate in different regions. So this preliminary view will recognize that studies that the U.S. is performing in the ITUR on these limitations are ongoing, with a view to determining if they can be relaxed in some manner given the number of FSS and BSS systems that have been successfully implemented in these bands. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I present document WAC 74 for your consideration.
Any comments on document 74? Hearing none, we'll deem it approved for forwarding to the Commission. And Damon, do you have comments on documents received from NTIA?
I don't believe we considered any documents this round, so no.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're close to wrapping up. I'd like everyone, if you wouldn't mind, taking a second to look at document WAC-4. It is the current preparatory timeline. We are anticipating our next meeting, the 6th of this advisory committee, for September 16, 2014. The actual date will be confirmed by a public notice in the Federal Register, and in all likelihood you'll hear about it before that informally. And before I bring this meeting to a close, I'd like to ask Alex to discuss membership issues because our advisory committee needs to be rechartered.
Yes, thanks, Scott. So in case you haven't been paying attention, our charter is expiring in 3 months. And so that entails everyone, all the members, reapplying for membership. We're trying to make this process as easy as possible. It should be easier to reapply than apply for a membership. We'll be sending you an email sometime in March asking you to confirm your interest in the committee and also confirm that you have not become a registered lobbyist. So please don't disregard those emails and make sure your filter is not putting our emails into the trash. And hopefully we'll get through this with minimal difficulties for everyone. Thank you.
Audrey?
Hi, back to the previous item. I'm sorry about the timeline. Not the time scale, but the timeline.
Yes.
Regarding the tentative plans for the next meeting being September 16th, I believe that's the week tentatively slated for the next PCC2 CTEL meeting following the one in March. So that's what ComCTEL decided in its December meeting. It is tentative. There's no host yet, but I was thinking we might want to have our WAC meeting a few weeks before CTEL so we can make additional inputs. Thank you.
Or if it's going to be someplace warm, maybe we all meet together. Okay, we'll take that under advisement. Thanks. Any other new business? Let me thank you all. You guys have done extraordinary work since the last meeting. We're making a fabulous progress, and I think you should all be very pleased with what you've accomplished. Thank you.